Hi, and welcome to PD6's channel. Uh, I just want to talk about what the Second Amendment means to me. There's a lot of shit going around lately where people seem to think that the Second Amendment leaves room for interpretation. Even the NRA saying that bump stocks should be banned. I mean, are you fucking retarded? That's my response to that. Is shall not be infringed. That it's pretty fucking clear. So, to me, the Second Amendment to the Constitution means that we, as the citizenry, can own any weapon we wish. Okay? I personally would be willing to make a concession in that I don't think we should have intercontinental ballistic missiles or nukes. But short of that, I think we should be able to own anything we want to own. And the only reason I'm willing to make a concession on nukes is because that's fucking insane. If you literally let us own nukes, I would have a fucking secret volcano layer and be holding the world ransom for, $20 billion or whatever. That would be what I would do every weekend. Why would that not be what you would do? So I get that. We don't want countries to have nuclear weapons, much less individuals. But as far as machine guns go, why can't we own those? Okay, everyone likes to talk about the Las Vegas shooter, and he did so much more damage because he had fucking full auto, or he had bump stocks, or he had this, or he had that. Really? I'm sorry, but the difference between full auto, let's say he was doing 800, 900 rounds per minute, real full auto M16 speeds, versus as fast as I can pull the trigger on a semi-auto, which is about 400 rounds a minute. Is there a huge difference there? There's not. I mean, he was up there for 10 minutes, and he wasn't even shooting for all of that. I put it to you that if all he had was, an M1 Garand and a few cans of ammo and a gallon of water, he probably could have done as much damage as he did. And this rifle is fucking legal in every state in the goddamn Union and Canada. You can literally own this fucking gun in Canada. And Canada has way worse controls than we do. In fact, I think if he had been using this gun, it probably would have been worse for Las Vegas. All he was doing was spraying bullets into the crowd, and if you want to do that out of an M1, you can do that pretty effectively. I can empty an M1 in about a second, and have it reloaded after about another couple seconds. You would be amazed at the amount of ammo that you can dump in 10 minutes out of an M1 Garand. And not to mention you're shooting 30-06, so everything you hit is probably dying. I mean, unless you hit him in the arm or something like that. But if you get a torso shot with a 30-06, there's a high likelihood of death. You might be like, well, shot placement, blah, blah. No. I don't think you understand fully what happens when a fucking bullet hits a human body. And when a bullet of this size hits you in the torso, there's a pretty good chance it's going to cause damage that can't be fixed. Okay, this is why, in World War II, how many fucking guys have you heard, little old men on the History Channel talking about their M1 saying that when you shot them, the motherfucker went down and didn't get back up. That's what you get when you get, fucking M2 ball or, 308 going through somebody. It's deadly effective. You know why there were fucking 60 people, whatever it was, killed and 600 wounded? Or 500 wounded? It's because he was using 5.56. For the most part. There's pictures in the room of a Daniel Defense 308, so we're going down a rabbit hole. Sorry. Like, if this type of rifle, which will be legal no matter what, as long as we have guns, could cause that damage, and a belt-fed machine gun could cause that damage, then why can't I own the belt-fed machine gun? That's the thing I don't understand, is like the bump stock thing. Does the bump stock make... Does him not having a bump stock make that shooting any less deadly? No. Well then, what the fuck is the discussion about? Like, if we didn't have the Second Amendment, and if some of this stuff would actually make it to where less people would have gotten hurt, then I would be like, let's have a conversation. But the fact that we have our rights guaranteed to us in our founding document, and on top of that, even like the most wild fucking gun control dreams in the world would not eliminate his ability to do what he did. Even Dianne Feinstein says this, that like, basically, I think it was Face the Nation or some shit like that. One of them asked her, so what would you propose that would stop this? And she's like, I don't think there's any law that would have stopped this. He was wealthy and well-to-do, and he passed the background checks. He got his gun. There's no law we could make that would have stopped this. She says that verbatim in that fucking interview, and it pisses me off so fucking much. It's like they don't fucking get it. Like, she wants all guns to disappear overnight for unknown fucking reasons. Like, I mean, do you think that's really going to be good for our society? Let's say we could magically disappear all the guns overnight. I honestly think that would be a very bad idea. I don't think they fully comprehend the amount of shit that gets stopped by simply homeowners having a gun. Even if it's just some little like pocket pistol, or a pump action 20 gauge shotgun, whatever it is. Grandpappy left me this shotgun. You know how much fucking crime that stops? Between the people who just don't go out and fucking kick in your door with a baseball bat and 4 other guys simply because they might get shot, to there's someone who has entered your home in the middle of the night and you have chased them away via the threat of force. Like, that is what the Second Amendment is about. And this reminds me, I was watching this thing. It was a thing on PBS about, DNA research for celebrities or whatever. And they had Bernie Sanders on there. And in his background, they traced his roots back to Europe, where his family was, Jews in Poland, basically. And when he was being told of the horrors that his dad lived through in Poland, and how basically the police and the government were persecuting his father's family, the look on his face of just could not comprehend what he would do, because he puts all of his faith in the government to save him. Like, you could just see it in his eyes when he said, when you can't even turn the police, what do you do? What do you do? I'm Bernie Sanders. I mean, like, oh, what do you do? I don't even know how to fucking answer that. That's what you fucking do. His family, basically, they like burned down their house, drug them out, robbed them, did all this shit. If someone tried to do that here in the United States to me, I don't call the fucking police. You're gonna find me dead in a pile of brass and dead bodies. And the fact that he doesn't comprehend that, and doesn't get that that's exactly why we need these things, is why we will never win a political battle in this country on this topic. There's about half of this country who place so much faith in the state that they cannot comprehend having to fight off the police or whoever it is. Like, fuck that. It's just mind-boggling to me that anyone could be that fucking delusional. And that man is a senator in the United States Congress is just even more mind-boggling. Yet again, down a rabbit hole. We're 10 minutes into this shit. Now, a common thing is like, well, does the Second Amendment apply to rockets and grenades? Well, the Second Amendment applied to handheld bombs and cannons in the Revolutionary War. Those were all privately funded, privately owned. That's exactly the sort of shit that the Second Amendment was pointed at, was muskets, cannons, hand bombs. So I'm thinking, yeah, the Second Amendment does protect rockets and hand grenades. Even though I think, yet again, an argument could be made, if he had had a case of fucking law rockets, that attack would have been probably worse. I don't think that's really the issue. Okay. But even, like, say we ignore that particular hurdle. Fucking birds. The main argument, I think, is about full auto versus semi-auto. If there's no difference in the damage caused by the two things, I mean, would anyone have not been hurt with him firing 400 rounds a minute instead of 900 rounds per minute? No. So then what does it matter? And their answer to that is either no guns or no semi-autos. You're never going to get no semi-autos. Like, if you take away semi-automatic firearms in the U.S., you have to take away rifles and pistols, which would leave us with bolt-action rifles and revolvers. And I think at that point, a lot of the U.S. would be pissed off about it. When you're talking about taking away a bump stock, the 5 people who give a shit are the minority. And we are run by the tyranny of the majority in this country. So, if you went after, all semi-automatic firearms, you might actually get the ire up of the country. You might actually find that people like their guns, which they do. Even, like, liberals like guns for some reason. I don't get how you could both want a gun and spew some of the shit they spew, but it's beyond me. Anyway, I figured the M1 was a good backdrop for this video, because to me this represents everything the Second Amendment is about. It's absolute freedom. If I only owned one rifle and it was an M1 Garand, I would not feel undergunned. The CMP gives these things out to civilians. If you want to know what the arm of the militia is from, the government's perspective, it's probably this M1 Garand. It's like a third-rate weapon at this point, but God, is it still good. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble. I cannot believe that we are having this discussion again. This honestly makes me want to move to another country. I don't know where I would move to that we would have, a similar gun situation without having to deal with this bullshit, but there are other countries that have guns. Like, you could live in fucking South Africa or Switzerland pretty easily and not know you weren't in the United States. the Philippines too, for that matter. Philippines still has machine guns, but Philippines has its own issues. I don't know. A buddy of mine and I keep talking about moving to Alaska and just saying fuck it, and that's honestly what I would love to do. Buy up everything I want to have, move up to Alaska, and just not give a fuck about what laws are passed. Oh, and before I go, I also wanted to mention one of the things I heard, I think it was Feinstein talking about, was, we should restrict ammunition. Or have a tax on it. That's a great idea. We'll tax the ammo until it's so expensive no one can afford to shoot. What she seriously was suggesting. I'm like, are you a fucking nut job? Like, I don't know. It's like, from what she was saying, she wants, like, there to be no tax on ammunition purchased at a range to shoot, and then to have, like, a 5,000% tax on ammunition sold for storage. Like, it's just fucking, it's so ridiculous I have to laugh at it. Just to be honest, if they did that shit right now, I have enough ammo to fight a fucking world war. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but, like, I have enough ammunition for this gun to shoot, I don't know, well into my 40s probably. And I'm in my mid-20s. Like, considering the amount that I shoot this gun and the amount of ammo I have, easily into my 40s or 50s. I'd be in my retirement years by the time I ran out of .6. Part of that's because I like shooting this gun. Part of that's because I had a BAR for a while and stocked up on 30-06. And I just bought like 1,200 rounds of 308. So, if you limited that to a bolt-action rifle, Jesus Christ, that would last forever. I don't think you'd ever have to buy it again. However, I did buy that for kind of the BAR replacement I got, which I'm going to do a video on that eventually. I want to get one or two more things in the mail and kind of get it set up the way I want to set it up before I do a video on it, but it's kind of meant to be a light machine gun. That and doing a video on that particular gun this close to that shooting maybe not be a good idea. I bought it as like riot control for what I saw as the inevitable Antifa riots. And I was planning on getting a binary trigger for it, but I don't think that's going to happen. I bought one of those stupid GAT cranks for $40. I'm going to see if I can make that work. If I can't make that work, it's going to be a semi-auto. I would love to have a 308 Gatling gun, though. It'd be kind of awesome. Anyway, share whatever thoughts this video provoked in you below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.